Hi guys, and welcome back to my whisky channel, the Whisky Speaker. I'm Nathan, and today we're going to be looking at how to read whisky labels. Now, for some of you who've been drinking for a long time, this will come naturally to you, but for those of you just starting off enjoying whisky, this is maybe a video for you. Now, the first thing we're going to look at is New Make Spirit. New Make Spirit's mainly come about in the last 5 years or so for helping to finance new distilleries who have to wait otherwise 3 years for their product to legally be called whisky. My example of which is this Cooper Kings from Yorkshire, which hopefully over time they will be giving a delicious whisky for us to all enjoy. As you can see, New Make Spirit on the label there. Alcohol by volume, in this case 47%, and most importantly, how much liquid are you getting for your money? Very important. In this case, 50 cl. As you can see as well, it's like vodka. It's basically had no tannins or lignins extracted from a cask, and therefore there's no flavour other than what the copper and the barley has given into the product. Now, the product that everybody goes on about throughout the world, which is more probably better known than New Make Spirit, is single malt whisky, my personal favourite. And in this case I'm going to use the Isle of Rassay's While We Wait series. Hopefully they'll be coming online this year and producing some amazing whisky for us all to enjoy soon. If you look at that, single, implying that it's a product from a single distillery. Malt, which means that the process that the barley has been through is now malted it in order to extract all the flavours that are required to convert the protein into alcohol. And then we've got Scotch, which is a legal phrase suggesting that it can have only have come from Scotland. And lastly but not least, unsurprisingly, whisky. Whisky, interestingly enough, as just a little quirky fact, if you see here it's KY, in Ireland and in Wales it's KEY. Once again, touching on how much alcohol in the bottle by volume, and then how much overall in product. Interestingly enough, for specialist bottles as well, they've indicated this is lightly peated, so this can come in the form of either saying lightly peated, heavily peated, or ppm, which stands for parts per million, and it's finished in a Tuscan red cask, so cask indication as well on the bottle can be given. But these are for specialist bottles that are not normally seen in the supermarket. Now, moving on from single malt, you've got Scotch blended malt whisky. It's premium products such as Chivas Regal, been aged for 12 years, is a blended malt Scotch whisky. Now, when anybody puts the emphasis on malt in the blended Scotch, it means that it's several distilleries that have come together to infuse their product into a barrel before it's bottled, and that can be from 2 distilleries all the way up to 50. If it's Scotch whisky without the emphasis of malt, that means that it can have come from a grain whisky and a malted barley whisky being put together in exactly the same way. The component, obviously single grain there, which has now actually started to find its own feet, was predominantly, as just I've said, been used mainly for creating things like bells, teachers, etc. But single grain whisky, which has come from a continuous still, originally a pattern which dated back from 1850 from Amos Coffey, a chap from Ireland, a guy who I'll come on to in another video, created this way of producing whisky which is much more lighter and buttery in flavour, and is a key component to blended malt whisky. But if you see it on a label single grain whisky, then that is another version of saying that there's stuff like green barley which has been used as opposed to malted barley in the product. Other things you'll see on top of a whisky label will be, particularly in Scotland, because Scotland is the only country that I'm aware of at the moment that, as such, that has its own whisky regions, with Lowlands, Highlands, Speyside, Campbelltown and Islay all being renowned for triple distillation, light in character, from the lowlands, or from the highlands, slightly more heavier, peaty, rich, bolder characteristics, and then from Speyside, which is really fruity, Campbelltown, which is kind of salty and peaty, and then Islay, which is like punching well above its weight for kind of peat. These are other descriptions that you'll see on the whisky label. Now, moving on to different types of cereal, a little curio is this. From the East London Liqueur Distillery Company, you'll notice it says London Rye. Now, the reason why rye has been put in there is that it's a hark back to the Victorian era. The Scots and the Irish were using corn and rye as a main component for creating whisky way back when, but as time has gone on, they found out that they could extract more whisky out of malt and barley. So things like corn, rye and wheat as such have been phased out and replaced with the predominant malted barley. So that's another thing you can see on your label, all the different types of cereal that have been used. That's a very quick brief sum up, guys. Thank you very much for your time. I've enjoyed presenting this video to you. Hopefully next week I will have another video for you. If you'd like to see anything in particular, then please let me know. Drop me a comment in the box below. Apart from that, enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.